Muchachos y muchachas, if evil wasn't already illustrated in the past year and a half, I would even say close to 2 years, on how evil is just infiltrated in our culture, how it's infiltrated in the hearts of the rulers and those that govern us, even locally. I don't even know what to tell you. This is a story that illustrates that. And unfortunately, it comes down to that, where it actually had to be carried out for us to understand how truly broken this system is for the children. I'm talking about a story that's coming out of Houston, where I actually reside, where there were children that were found in an apartment fending for themselves. A 15-year-old boy was taking care of them. And if that doesn't top it, there was also a decomposing 9-year-old boy that was found in the same apartment. Oh my gosh, stay right there. We're going to go through it. Folks, the world is literally becoming unhinged. Supply chains are breaking down. The critical shortages are showing up left and right. People can sense that the other shoe is about to drop. They're ordering emergency food like crazy, which means you should too before you can't get any. I'm talking about high quality emergency food you can get from My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's leading preparedness company, and they've served millions of American families. Now they want to help you by giving you $100 off their best-selling 3-month emergency food kit. This food stays fresh for up to 25 years in proper storage, so it'll be there when you need it. And the meals in this food kit average over 2,000 calories per day, so don't wait. Go to preparewithnatly.com and claim your 3-month emergency food kit while you still can. You'll save $100 per kit if you act now. That's preparewithnatly.com. There continues to be a surge of orders. Make sure yours is one of them. preparewithnatly.com. All right, let's get through into this, because this is a very disturbing story, by the way, and maybe I should have prefaced that, but it's disturbing. The details are absolutely horrific. A house of horrors, no charges filed. Mother and boyfriend released after a 9-year-old is found dead and kids were abandoned. And I'll just add to that, malnourished. They were completely neglected. Harris County. A neighbor said she complained for months about a terrible smell coming from an apartment where a child was found dead in Southwest Harris County, but claims nothing was done. The woman spoke to ABC 13 a day after the gruesome discovery was made on Sunday afternoon. According to Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez, investigators responded to an apartment complex in the 3535 block of Greencrest near Addicts Clothing and West Park Tollway. The sheriff's office said that they received a call for a 15-year-old claiming that his 9-year-old brother, okay, so it was his brother, had been dead for a year in the apartment he shared with his siblings. The teenage boy, who also told 911 dispatchers that his parents had not lived in the apartment with him, his 2 siblings aged 10 and 7 for several months. When the deputies arrived, they found skeletal remains consistent with what the teenage boy told the dispatchers. The children showed signs of malnourishment and were taken to the hospital to be treated. During a news briefing Sunday afternoon, Gonzalez called the situation horrific after he saw how the children had been living. He said it appears the skeletal remains had been there for an extended period of time. Connecting all the dots, it seems that they were there for a while the body was deteriorating. So let me paint the picture if you don't get it already. This 15-year-old is taking care of a 7 and 10-year-old by himself while the parents are living down the street. The parents were not in-house. The 9-year-old child, which I will get into a little bit more detail, which is, again, graphic and horrific, he died, and he was then left to decompose in front of his siblings. The 9-year-old's remains were reportedly out in the apartment, not concealed. The next door neighbor, who did not want to appear on camera, said Monday that the smell coming from the apartments was so bad, she would turn off the air conditioner so the smell would not come in. She also claims that she complained to the front office several times about the odor. The woman moved into the complex City Park 11 at West Oaks Apartments about 18 months ago. She said that the apartment where the 9-year-old's remains were found started to smell about 4 to 5 months after she had moved into her unit. She also thought the apartment was abandoned. To ensure the safety of the children, the Department of Family and Protective Services will, oh gosh, there's another problem, is seeking emergency custody of the 3 boys. Child Protective Services does not have a history of the family, but there was no active CPS investigation at the time the children were discovered alone in their apartment, CPS said in a statement. So let me pause there and just say that this neighbor had already tipped off the front desk of the apartment complex that, hey, there might be something going on. You know, there's a very foul odor. And typically, if that happens, you know, maintenance is supposed to check it. You know, at least that's what, from my experience of leasing, you know, that typically does happen where a maintenance worker will investigate at the very least, you know, and at least if they find nothing, then, you know, there's nothing else to conclude from that. But if there is an odor coming from a nearby unit, you would think to do some sort of check, some sort of, you know, investigation on your own as a maintenance, you know, that's just one part of this whole shindig that I wanted to point out. Late Sunday night, the sheriff's office said that the mother of the children and her boyfriend had been found and were interviewed by law enforcement. By Monday, 9:45 a.m., both the mother and her boyfriend had been released. Oh, like, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on that portion too. Adding that the investigation is ongoing and no charges have been filed. So let me get this straight. Okay, this is coming from Ed Gonzalez themselves. There's no new developments on this morning regarding the scene. How about the 9-year-old boy decomposing in the apartment being the development, sir? This is like, are we living in La La Land? How do you not charge these two for negligence, for abandonment, for neglecting their children, for malnourished children, for homicide? I'll get into that. It's unclear if the children were enrolled in school while going through this. The 3 children are now in the county's custody. Well, oh gosh, that's another freaking problem, because who knows if the county is going to treat these children right. I've said it so many times before that the CPS and the foster care system is already broken. So how are you going to remediate a broken system, you know, by, you know, these are some other factors. This is a whole other can of worms, but we're bringing in people from other countries and we're just open borders right now. And it's been evident that they have depended on these very broken systems, the foster care system, not CPS yet, but the foster care system, to allocate these unaccompanied minors. It's even gotten to the point where a California couple, you know, actually stepped up early on and said, hey, this seems like some sort of child exploitation, because, you know, the foster care agency is calling us foster parents and asking us for 26 or more beds. Who has that? Okay. It's not even sustainable to have that many kids under a household, you know? Neighbors said the apartment complex has been doing inspections, the past month. I can't even speak. This is so upsetting. On Sunday, ABC 13 kicked off the property by management, who wouldn't answer questions about the last time the apartment was inspected. Exactly my point. Exactly my point. If a neighbor is complaining to you that there's some sort of foul odor, why would you not want to investigate that? It's complete negligence on the part of our society as well. People have gotten so lazy that they have let evil infiltrate their heart, and they're just going to let anything happen. So this is the part where I get into a little bit more detail. The child that was found dead in this apartment had homicidal violence. He died of homicidal violence. Okay. At the very least, this parent, if that boyfriend of the mother's was not the parent, they should have been charged with negligence. They should have been charged with, at the very least, neglecting their children. How do you let these parents off with no charges is my question. It's corruption in the system. It's corrupted judges, corrupted DAs, corrupted people that are in charge of the local government in Houston. And this is very apparent. I'm going to show you actually a video. This was this morning, Tuesday morning. They had a commissioners meeting. This woman, she had, and I'll show you this afterwards, but this woman was complaining that, you know, these judges are so loose and so lenient on criminals. They're just letting them off. Okay, so this goes completely consistent with this story. So much so that the woman's, the woman's relative was murdered. I'll go into that. I'll let you hear for yourself. The child found dead in West Harris County apartment with 3 malnourished siblings forced to survive on neighbors for food, died of homicidal violence with multiple blunt force injuries, according to medical examiner records. Police found the child's remains in a bedroom in the 3rd floor apartment Sunday after the eldest of the boys, 15 years old, called 911 to report the death, which happened months earlier. Charges have not been filed yet in the death, but they let the parents go. Like, I don't think the boyfriend was a biological father, but they let the mother go. Do you understand how angering this is? You know how angering it is that the system is that rotten that you're gonna let parents off and not charge them for the least bit of negligence. The children are visibly malnourished. Child Protective Services, meanwhile, assumed custody of the surviving children. And that's another broken system. The brothers stopped attending their school in 𝐓𝐫𝐫 ISD May 2020, just as a planned apocalypse was happening. That was about the same time authorities dismissed a case against the mom who cited in 2019 for truancy issues involving one of the 3 rescued kids, according to court records. Do you guys know the case of Gabriel back? It's in Los Angeles. It was showed on Netflix, and I'm for the name of the actual Netflix focus documentary is escaping me. It was actually a decent documentary, and they actually went through the transparency of how the legal system failed that child, Gabriel, in which, you know, teachers were reporting, hey, like he's got these BB gun injuries to his face. He's got bruises showing up. He's not showing up for class. These are classic signs of child abuse. And yet the child got failed through the system, and he ended up dead because the parents or the mothers, it almost seems parallel. It's like the devil is not creative in his schemes. The mother and her boyfriend were the abusers. Gabriel's mother and Gabriel's mother's boyfriend were abusing him and neglecting him. And it goes to show that the entire system is rotten and failing these children. So in 2019, she was cited for truancy issues involving one of the 3 rescued kids. So let me ask you a question. Why was CPS not on the case as it was? It's so angering. I can't express how angering this is to me. 𝐓𝐫𝐫 ISD officials had started the investigation into the child's lack of attendance in 𝐓𝐫𝐾𝐡 Elementary School. The case dragged on through May 2020, but was eventually dismissed, with prosecutors citing, of course, the CKING as the reason. And this is very apparent. There have been so many countless articles that I have come across on a local base. You guys know that I do the Daily TrafficK, where I report on trafficking and child exploitation headlines. And a lot of times I can't capture all the stories that happen because it's so much. But there are so many headlines coming from local news agencies where they're citing, hey, this CKING situation that's affecting our household is also affecting the ways that law enforcement and, protective services such as this, they have no transparency as to what's going on in the home. So therefore, that's going to spike up the occurrence of domestic violence and child abuse. How do we not see this? How do we not see this? But yet people will argue you to death until they turn blue in the face that quarantining and doing these things to kids is necessary. Wake up. At one point, the mother started cooperating with truancy case, the official said. Craig Eichhorn, spokesman for ALFASC, said the children stopped attending the same month and did not return for the following school year. Prosecutors dismissed thousands of truancy cases early in the planned apocalypse at the request of Houston area school districts, officials said. So parents in Houston, are you at these school board meetings? This is a real true question. Parents in Houston, let me ask you, are you at these school board meetings? Okay. Are you becoming aware of your children's friends? You know, because I can guarantee you that there's at least one caring parent that can at least notice that there are some sort of signs of child abuse in their kids' friends. But, you know, that's not ultimately their responsibility. But let me ask you, this is a subject, Houston parents, that you should be at the Houston, at least HISD, AISD school board meetings and holding these school board officials accountable on. Why did you guys dismiss all these truancy cases? Why? Cite this case. Cite it. Cite that this child was abused, that because you didn't keep up with this truancy case, you could have discovered more abuse going on in the household. Why did you dismiss it? 3 siblings were found in the apartment at 3530 Greencrest Drive that had no power for at least a couple weeks. Investigators said Monday neighbors at times gave them food and access to a phone charger. Details into how the children, the eldest 15, survived on their own were scarce Monday as Judge Gloria Lopez sealed records pertaining the bid from CPS for emergency custody of the siblings. So there we go right here. Judge Gloria Lopez, which I'm going to do a little dig after this. You bet I am. You bet I am. This judge, you guys gave the name of the judge, details on how the children, the eldest 15, survived on their own were scarce Monday as Judge Gloria Lopez in the 308th District Court sealed the records pertaining to a bid from CPS from emergency custody of the siblings, according to court officials. The other surviving children were ages 7 and 10. Judge Gloria Lopez, I'm wondering why you would seal these records. I mean, I know there's a big process, but this is just, it's very questionable to me. I'm just asking questions. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just wondering why you would seal these records. I mean, if it pertained the safety of these kids. The decision to seal the documents applied to the state's affidavit for removal of a public record, which would have dived into the details of the case that social workers themselves are prohibited from disclosing. Deputies descended on City Park 2 West Oaks apartment complex soon after the eldest child called 911. The mother of the children, as well as her boyfriend, were located on Sunday night. Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez said on Twitter the two were released with no charges that had been filed. Phone numbers associated with the mother and the relative for truancy court records did not work. This is exactly what I'm saying. Senior Deputy Thomas Gilliland from Harris County Sheriff's Office was unsure how the child's death went unnoticed at the apartment. Investigators were trying to figure out how no one at the complex reported anything amiss, the unit, or noticed smells associated with the child's death. Well, back in a different source, as we just cited through ABC 13, there was a neighbor that actually reported this. And actually, you know what? If you are a Harris County, officer, go look at that ticket. Was it just a phone call to the office, or was there an actual ticket that was filed? Sometimes with these apartment complexes, what happens is they have an online system. You submit a ticket, let's say if you need maintenance, if lights go out, if, there's water that is clogged up in the bathtub, what have you, you can literally submit a ticket for anything. So that's one thing we've got to question. Was there a ticket submitted on the behalf of this problem of the odor, as it was cited that this particular neighbor says that she reported? So there is actually one case that was reported. It was just the fact that there was the apartment complex that was negligent in reporting or inspecting the cause properly. So, Investigator Natly already found something, okay? And it didn't take me long. It took a little bit of critical thinking. My gosh. So the abandoned kids, they lived for weeks without power, relied on a neighbor for food and phone charging. The 3 children found in the abandoned alongside their long dead siblings Sunday afternoon were staying in the West Harris County apartment, had no power for at least a couple weeks. In recent weeks, a neighbor had been helping the children, the eldest 15, by bringing them food and charging their cell phones, said Deputy Charges Gilliland. The 15-year-old boy, he called 911. That's the sheriff, just pretty much giving the debrief. And this pretty much, it repeats the same sort of details that we just read through. And here are neighbors that are just absolutely what seems to be distraught about the entire situation. My also question too is, my question too is also the neighbors that were helping out these kids. How do you not know that there's something not going on in the household, or there's something going on in the household? You know, if these kids are repeatedly like being receptive to being fed, or, you know, they need their phones charged, you know, because there's no power. How do you not know not to like report to the authorities? You know what I mean? Like, guys, it's not even just just evil in the hearts of this system. It's negligence. It's being so blinded to not even use discernment. You know, if you don't have discernment, hey, there might be something going on in that kid's house. Why are they always asking for food? Why are they asking me to charge their phone? What's going on? You know, they're not being real straight up with me. It's asking questions. I mean, it's just, this is what's happening in Houston. You know, this is my city, and this is happening. I can assure you at a scale that is so more wide scale. It's just illustrated in this one case. And this just brings me to once again call to the power of the people to be at these commissioner meetings, to be at these budget planning meetings, you know, to get to know who these judges are, who are letting these parents off without charges, you know, sealing records so early on. This is disturbing. Guys, I don't even know what to say anymore. I'm left without any more words. This is just such a disturbing case, and it just angers me because it's happening at a scale that is so much more magnificent and so much more gargantuan that we can even fathom. And, you know, even to that, these officials, these commissioners are planning meetings in which they're allocating budget spending to things that are so porky, things that don't even matter, that don't even benefit the community, things that are just so propagandized. And we're not asking questions. And this is the most disturbing part, that this is affecting us, and yet we're not there. Anyway, guys, this is a call to action. Get involved. Have some transparency into your system, and truly get to know what is happening in your city. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for listening, and thank you for staying in tune with the news. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, set the bell notifications on this channel, and tell somebody about this channel. Guys, this is just disturbing. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Muchachos y muchachas, I hope you enjoyed that video. There are a lot more videos like that and more on my new platform, natlydenise.tv, where you can also catch some of my old documentaries that you guys loved so much last year. That plus more. I just launched a new membership, Natly Denise Exclusives, in which we'll host new content, very exclusive content, some of which is based and unpopular with the mainstream, so therefore it has to be hosted there. Please consider signing up at natlydenise.tv. Also, please remember that I have a merch store, natlyDeniseGear.com, which is also linked in my description below, in which a portion of every single sale will go towards human trafficking rescue and aftercare. Thank you guys so much for your support. See you later.